All right, we're live. Good afternoon, world. Good evening. Good morning. Good everything wherever you are. It's Bantu TV. Welcome to this glorious day of. What's today's date? I'm always confused by dates. For deep thinker here, I'm always confused by the dates. I don't know what's going, what's coming. That's how cray sometimes days can be. So what's today? Today is the 28th of January, I
Mhm.
guess, 2024. It's almost a month into the new year, and a lot of things are happening everywhere, left, right, and center. And we're here to talk about those, headlining news moments out of the Netherlands. And with me here, well, let me start by introducing myself. All right, this is the one and only Kalinda Shichinda. Well, let's not go there. Sometimes I forget, Gypsy. I want to go always into the DJ. I'm thinking I'm DJing some.
Hey,
Okay,
do
so
you?
broadcasting out of the Midwest of the state of Indiana, the city Indianapolis, and we welcome everybody to today's podcast. And the man has been missing for a good 4 weeks, I should say. He's back today. Let him introduce himself. Go ahead, the deep thinker. You were missed.
From the Midwest of the United States in St. Louis, Missouri, this is Valentine. I'm back from the motherland. I'm back from Zambia. I was there for a month. I was happy to be there. I was happy to see what's going on there. Let's forge ahead. We're doing a great job. Thank you.
Oh, brilliant. So, you know what? Mr. Sophia, are you there? Because what are you doing in the background? Okay, well, he will come on and introduce himself. But hey, Valentine, I want to start on this note. You were in Zambia, so really, I just want to scratch your brains a little bit. What do you have? What do you bring from the motherland in terms of what were your, first-hand account of what you saw, what you had, your interaction in terms of politics, social, and everything Zambia has to offer? This is your moment. Carry on. Carry on.
I went home for a month, and my interaction was not with the high ranking officials. My interaction was mainly with the councillors and on the ground. On the ground, things are moving. The UPND government is doing their thing on the ground. Now, what you hear,
Okay, who's that? Okay,
the,
Mr.
po-
Tulipia, go
the,
ahead. Go ahead.
the politics that you hear from high ranking officials, that is pure politics. The work is happening on the ground. The councillors are doing their job. The mayors are on top of the game. They are bringing development to the people. And, and the development is trickling down the to what we call common people. Even the people of Lugwalo are happy with what is going on.
Oh my God. Ah, you just scratched my
If
back right there.
if you go to Lugwalo right now, if you go to
Uh-huh.
Lugwalo right now, you might be lost because there is something new that is happening. There is some development that is going to that area. So let's support this government because the rhetoric they're talking on at the higher ranking level, that's all politics. I look for the trickle down, what is going on in the communities. I was happy to see that.
Well, I'm so glad to hear that. That's what you experienced on the ground for the 4 weeks you were there. Besides, what we hear every day on social media is, um, the kwacha going haywire against the dollar. And I was sending some money home today. I mean, it was like it's almost 27 kwacha to a dollar. And every time you talk to people back home, people are struggling. I mean, we're struggling in the terms of, they're saying, well, things are expensive, the kwacha is not stable, but then again, there's some people that are complaining against the dollar. Wait until Friday comes, rolls around. Guess what? They'll be packing Chicago's in Osaka, Olympus in Livingston, and all those areas. So, I mean, it's such a mixed bag. So, what is what in terms of economics? What did you feel? What was your impression on that, um, Deep Thinker?
I think of war most of the time. Sometimes you have to retreat and plan how you want to attack so that you win the war and the battle. So what is going on with the UPND and the government is, they came at a really tough time in the Zambian politics where the coffers were almost empty and the people have the money that we just found out that former President Lungu paid for the Kaiser Zulu's securities. He just paid. I wish the PF guys can give back the money that they took without permission. I'm not saying stealing. I'm saying without permission. I wish they would put it back so that it circulates in the country. So without that circulation of money in the country, then the economy is not going to be stable. But what I do know is that the government is working and we will start seeing the results soon. That's my assessment.
Oh, great. And just let's pause on that. And I think my co-host, the one and only, finally got uh, his um, his mic situation sorted out here. The one and only Mr. Chilupia, please.
Yeah, yeah, how what did microphone hii? Mwashita microphone yanyu, mwashita manani kane yanyu, if coincide or connect. Yeah. So
Exactly. I mean, you spend hundreds of dollars for these things and they don't work. That's why now I'm kind of like I'm stuck with my little mic on my phone because I
mm,
mean I
mm,
spend so much on a mic. It's supposed to be a professional mic, but
yeah,
here's the
yeah.
thing. I think it's a sabotage. For me, I think my son is sabotaging me. I bought this expensive equipment that
Uh,
seems to work only with these devices, but when
mhm.
it comes to my devices, they don't work as much. So there you
Oh,
have it. You
oh my
know,
God.
I, I,
Oh
I live
my
with,
God.
I live with a 16-year-old. He thinks he knows everything. So anyway, welcome to this week's podcast.
Thank you
Please
very much. Thank you very
introduce
much.
yourself to the audience.
Of course, my name is Chanda Chulufia, and I live here in Canada, Ontario, and it's always a pleasure to discuss and discuss trending topics with Zambia, and we've always been on point to say Bantu TV, yeah, Bantu Bonse. We don't discriminate. If you got issues, if you got topics that you want to discuss, feel free to join us. We're not going to judge you. It's your own view and it's your own, way that you look at things. So let's all unite and discuss in a healthy manner. As long as that tukana, and then everything else is okay. But Valentine, Kale, mulishani bakamba.
Tuife bwino.
Huh?
Munjani?
Bueno, I
Eh,
haven't seen you in a long time.
I was back home.
Oh, nice, nice,
Yeah, I
nice,
was back home. You know,
nice.
You can see even my skin is smooth because I was eating good
I,
food over there.
Mwalidi, the natural food, the natural food, not if it chemicals over to
Uh,
kuno.
uh, uh, uh. No.
Eh,
What is this? This is I know on a dating show where now men advertising their skin tone and okay, well, let's leave it
No,
there. That
no.
we are.
I was just I was just emphasizing the point that the people back home they look good, despite
uh,
what we hear on social media that people are starving. No, that
mm,
is not true. There is more to
mm,
be done, but the people are happy and they look
mm.
good. That's
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
my point.
yeah. And
Oh,
it's in fact the food as well. The food is very important. If
Correct.
yeah, like kuno tuliangalia sana if my GMOs and all that stuff. But back home it's all natural grown. So it's more healthier. Mm-hmm. And
okay,
go ahead,
you two, you
Linda.
okay?
Mm.
You two gentlemen who are seems to be advertising your dating profile. Hold those thoughts. Let's bring in the man who missed last week, but he was eager this week. We see that, and he's here almost on time. The one and only, Mr. Carver. Please introduce yourself to the audience.
Oh yeah, thank you. My name is Chisuta Kalapa. I'm based in Minnesota here. Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to Bantu TV.
You still want Mr. Calabar. Thank you so much for that introduction because me and Mr. Tupia have the wrong pronunciation all along. We've been calling it Bantu TV as if we are it. Okay, now
Oh,
that's a topic on another day. So Bantu is actually the correct one.
Correct.
So correct. So anyway, gentlemen, since we haven't had the deep thinker for a while, I thought we should delve into his travels since he's just coming back from, Zambia. We just want, I mean, he needs, we need him to spotlight what his experiences in Zambia were in terms of, I mean, because we hear every day that things are hard, but then people are in your inboxes asking for $100, and then tomorrow you see them, at Chicago's or
Mm.
Lipos or wherever most happening places in terms of social meetings in Zambia are concerned. So I thought maybe before we actually delve into the topics, let's bring in the deep thinkers, opinions or his experiences in Zambia for us, so we can really understand the nuances, the ins and outs of what exactly is happening on the ground. And he says he didn't meet anybody high up, but he did meet the counselors and everybody else. So, Mr. Deep Thinker, again, please walk us through what your experiences were in Zambia when you got there in terms of the political scene and, of course, the social. We'll touch on the economic a little bit in a
The,
minute.
str- the struggle is still there. Now, I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to take that away. The struggle is there. But when I was home, I spent most of my time with what we call common people. People in the markets. I was at Soweto Market. I was in Livingston. Councillor Isaac in Livingston is doing a great job. The councillors actually are doing great jobs because they're bringing programs, and some of them are concentrating on youth programs. For example, Councillor Isaac in Livingston is um, trying to round up some resources so that he can bring athletic programs for the children, because after school some children they get in the community, and we don't want bad things happening there, so he's organizing those the resources for them so that they can play basketball, soccer, netball, badminton, expose them to different athletic programs that are not really common in some places in Zambia. Now, like I said earlier on, although the struggle is real, the people are really happy, and there's plenty of food. and people are helping each other a lot, and the government is putting in a lot, is pushing in a lot of economic development and economic growth in the rural areas and in community disadvantaged communities. I saw that myself, and I saw how people are beginning to work together to help each other. Take, for instance, when I was home, some of the people in the village were actually borrowing plowing equipment from each other so that they could plow before the rains stopped and all that. And I saw from the farm where I lived, I saw, I think, 10 times I saw trucks that are sinking boreholes in the rural areas pass by the farm, go by. I talk to them, and they're happy that there's employment, is providing employment to them because, and also providing services to the people. Overall, I am really happy with what the government is doing, especially in disadvantaged communities, including Lugwalo, where people are really uh, benefiting from government programs. I did not interact with the high ranking officials, and
mm,
that was on purpose because
mm,
I wanted to see what's going on the ground.
mm, mm.
I didn't want the high ranking officials to corrupt my thinking and my observations. I just wanted to see what's actually going on the ground. And I'm happy with that.
Nice, nice, nice.
Now, granted, I didn't go to every part of Zambia, but
Mm-hmm.
the parts that I went to, I am happy the, what the government is doing, what the councillors are doing. They're
Mm,
doing an excellent job. Kudos to them.
mm, mm, mm. That's a very good experience. At least you're giving us the first hand information, first hand experience, and
And especially that, yeah, you went in during the Christmas and
mm,
New Year
you know,
holidays. So
yes,
absolutely,
so at least you're
Yes.
giving us that raw information, that we cannot access to. We can only get information like this from somebody who actually goes there. Via kuna ni kana deep in the villages and ask the people, what's going on. Are there people benefiting? Is CDF working? And
Yes.
if you come up with reports like this, I want to now they start realizing that look, the current government is actually trying. Things
Yes.
cannot be 100%, of course. It's impossible to satisfy each and every Zambian. But
Mhm.
for the most part, abantu abalesta benefit vengi, at this particular point, as compared to in the previous regime, Yakovati, it was party-based, empowerment. Now, Muntul Yonsefi at this point, I think, whether you are UPND, whether you are MMD, whether you are PF, there's a blanket there. You're just a Zambian. Kuya, if you want to access these funds, you can go there and access them and you be able to get advantage of all those things that the current government is doing. Thank you very much, Valentine. That's a very, very good insight.
Thank you.
Mm.
absolutely brilliant, deep thinker. Thank you, and again, welcome back to your place on Bantu TV, or as Mr. Kalapa would say, Bantu TV, which is the
One,
correct
two.
pronunciation as well. And so now let's just go back into the. We have so many topics to tackle today. In terms of, yeah, we have a lot going on. So let's jump into our tonight or today's topics. And there's no easy way than just putting it out there. We have Judge Katanekwa finally been fired by Bali this week, following recommendations from the JCCP, which is the quasi a committee that looks into airing judges, whether is it be it on the Supreme Court or High Court and the like. Gentlemen, based on that, what are your views towards the recent firing of Judge Katanekwa? Let's start with you, Mr. Chilufia. We'll give Oh, actually, before we go there, the man himself, the man behind everything we're doing here. For a change today, we are graced by his what's the word for it? His presence. Uh, Mr. Kobe, welcome, sir, to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Good afternoon, everyone, and it's a pleasure being here.
Nice.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
You're
So
welcome.
let's look here. Yeah, so shall we talk about the recent firing of Judge Katanekwa? Your views there.
My views on this one are, I think it's pretty much straightforward. With me, I won't even go dive into it more, like deeply into it. But of course, the president himself has the right to fire and hire. And and when situations like this, it reaches a level where a judge is fired, then there are serious reasons to be considered, because you just don't fire a judge for no reason. And there must be something really big and something really serious to reach to that level for the president to actually fire you. And we wish him all the best. I mean, in his future endeavors. But look, judges, you've presided over different matters for several years, and obviously, we don't know whether it was compromised or not. That's not for us to know, because we don't have the preview to that information yet. But if there's anybody who has reasons why really that happened, I'll be happy to hear that, because I haven't really looked into it. Yeah.
Oh, great. All right. We move on. And maybe before we move to the deep think on the firing, let's welcome our new entrant here. We have, let me see if I get his name correctly. And I apologize if I butcher it, but I shouldn't. Himwani Maka. Welcome to our podcast, sir. Where are you joining us from? And please give us just a little introduction about yourself. Please go ahead. Yeah, you want to unmute yourself. I think either your mic or something is not gelling. Or let me try to unmute you. Can you? All right, here we go. Um, all right. Can you hear us? Again, I thought I unmuted him. Okay, it's all right. There you go,
Okay,
Mr. Marcha. Go ahead.
okay. I'm getting you from within the world. For now, let me just say I'm within the world on Earth. I'm on Earth. I'm a Zambian, but I'm on Earth. Can you
Okay,
get
we
me
take
now?
that. At least you showed us your face, so we take that, and we will call upon you to make your submissions on today's topics. So, Deep Thinker, on Judge Kataneka's firing by Bali, what's your comment?
The oncoming of this tribunal thing, where judges are put to task to be accountable to their actions in whatever way they did them, just to be accountable for their actions, because all this time we've known that they are that side, they are not above the law, but they are in the world of their own. We never heard of such things in the past, where a
Mhm.
judge would be I mean I mean made to stop work. It wasn't common. So we are getting to see a trend where people will be responsible for their actions. They will live within the law. If there's something that tempts them, like the bad thing, corruption, they will desist. So it's good timing. If I were to say he's a bad man, yeah, he's still a good man, because even if he's a bad man, he'll be used as a bad example. People are learning from it. It's not bad. We all get work. When anyone gets work, it's not that they are
Mhm.
permanently there. They can be hired and they can be fired. So people must learn to do the right thing when they are in office.
Brilliant stuff there, Mr. Macha. We appreciate that feedback. Deep Thinker, you want to come in on that?
Yes, I would like to thank Judge Kataneko for his service. I know the family, I know the Katanekos. I've interacted with them on a personal level. He's a good man. Whatever happened, I don't know. And I trust that the president uh, consulted and made the right decision, because I believe in the one who is in the driver's seat right now. But I wanted to say a few months ago, we had this conversation because there was some frustration as to why some of these cases, especially PF cases, were slow. People are looking for quick judgment and all that. And we discussed on this forum that you cannot rush justice. Bali had to deal with uh, the judicial system and, fine tune it so that they are fair and there's no personal, nothing personal is applied in the judgments. So I am happy that the president has moved in and is making corrections to the judicial system so that we have a very good judicial system that can support the people, the Zambians, common Zambians, and they can support the Zambian institutions. Because if that judicial piece is broken, then the whole country is broken. That's the beginning of corruption. I'm not saying Judge Kataneko was corrupt, because I don't know why he was fired. All I know is the president is making sure that the judicial system operates within the law and support the Zambian constitution. Follow the Zambian constitution all the way to the dot.
Great. Thank you, Deep Thinker. And let's go to Mr. Kalapa has been quiet. Mr. Kalapa, what's your opinion on the recent firing by the judge, by Bali?
Um, I depending on what what was found out, it's in order because he has to bring sanity in the judicial system. So if he's able to get rid of the big fish, what of those people in the small courts, they'll pay attention to what he says. They'll pay attention to they'll be doing their work diligently, because there was too much of money passing under the table for somebody to be acquitted, even something that was straightforward. So for him to have gotten rid of the big fish, now everybody, they'll be watching their backs. That's how that's how he's supposed to do it. So I think that was good. It's been long overdue. Then there are some that are still in the system that he has to get rid of. But at least he has to start from somewhere. Thank you.
Absolutely. And also, let's just remember that the president acted after receiving a report from from the tribunal that was set up against the judge.
Yes.
So it's important to reflect on that. So like the Deep Thinker says, Bali doesn't act until he sees something, until he has something solid, I believe. So let's go back to Mr. Kombe. Your thoughts on Mr. Katanekwa's removal from the bench.
Thank you so much, Madam Moderator. I think it's a very unfortunate situation, but a necessary one. I think once in a while the system has to be paged. So if the judge was found wanting, I think the president's action really should be commended and supported. We don't want people to be tilting decisions, especially if they have positions that are influential, like a judge. So it's a very unfortunate situation, but a necessary one. And it's good to see that it just didn't come from the executive, The judiciary also weighed in. The panel recommended, and the president acted. So we should commend the president for that. And if the judge is innocent, then he should appeal, and then let the country hear him. So all in all, I think it's a good action by the president if indeed that's what the judge has been compromised. So that's my take on that. And we shouldn't have people. There's been a lot of frustration. The president came out, I think 3 weeks, a month ago, and announced that he has signed into law um, now a law that states that any corruption case uh, being handled by the fast track court is supposed to begin and be disposed in the space of five months, I believe.
That's
Um,
correct.
and that's great. We need that. Uh, ACC should not be booking people, charging people if they don't have any evidence. And the president has been very clear on that. So this 5 month period is great because we saw there were a lot of people that were coming out that have cases in court that were saying when the PF comes back into power, their cases will be dropped. That shouldn't be the case. So if I hope they have enough prosecutors and investigators to to dispose of these cases. The country needs to see punishment. If somebody is found wanting and found guilty, they should be punished, and the country should see that. It's not just enough to get property from them, repossess property from them. We should be seeing people serving jail terms. Let others see so that people are scared of engaging in such kind of uh, ventures. So we want action, and I think this is a great thing. And the president is very confident, and he wants to see. And I think Justice Minister is busy right now. So let's see what happens. We don't want a situation where people are just apprehended and punished for nothing. Evidence it has to be evidence based, and let's see if the people who are jumping up and down will continue to jump. So good action by the president, and it's just sad that we can have judges that are corrupt, if indeed he was.
Absolutely, absolutely. Brilliant submissions there. So this then ties me to the next topic. Talking about recoveries and repossession. So the ACC announced this week that they retrieved or repossessed property and monies worth almost 1 billion kwacha from funders and fraudsters and everybody else involved in between. And so, I mean, the thing about that, like Mr. Kombe was saying, there's no mention of who these people were, but we just given these figures. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts on that? Because I mean, what does that say? Does it serve anybody any examples that people can, in the middle of the night, go ahead and give up their properties that they, of course, accumulated through fraud or corruption or however they, illegally got them. Um, what are your thoughts on those on the ACC revelation this week? Let's start with you, Mr. Chulfi. I see your lips were twitching to come in there for a moment. So go ahead and come in on this.
Yeah. So it actually, with the SEC and how they're structuring Amana and Kanama deals, this has been seen in a lot of legal institutions across the world. They can come up with like what they call you can come up with an agreement with the government or with the police or the investigation agency to say, look, I'll provide this information, and instead of me saving, let's say, 10 years, they will tell you, they put a deal on the table. They say, if you don't cooperate with us, you'll be gone for 10 years. But if you cooperate with us, will tell you, instead of doing that 10 years, you only do 5 years. But as long as you give us information in return. So those deals have been done in the past. Radhani Kaneva, Pamela Chisumpa and all those other people, those were the kind of deals that they've been dealing with. And this is like that case on its own is a perfect example, because if people have been doing illegal deals and all these in the background, that Gababa Sanga, they say, look, I wasn't doing this alone. There may be a bigger fish somewhere. You see? So when those issues happen, then they present those deals to them. And those deals, according to the case, it's case by case, and it's structured in that way. So yes, I mean, it's a good thing if that happens. We can retrieve back the money, we can retrieve back the properties, and in exchange for further information to go and get the bigger fish. That's my take on that one. I don't know about Valentine, what you think on that one.
I do agree with you, because you have to get information somehow, because otherwise you might just catch somebody who stole 1 million kwacha, and yet that person knows somebody who stole 5 billion kwacha. So I mean, the deals are always there as long as information is shared. It's just unfortunate, I think I think depending on how much time and money is spent on investigating cases, it should not just end at taking back the properties and the jail time. There should be some restitution paid, because that's the taxpayers' money that you wasted instead of coming out from the beginning. Because the president told them, said, if you come out, then you might get some amnesty. So if we are going to spend money pursuing you, it doesn't just end at property given
Mm,
back.
mm,
It,
mm.
taxpayers' money has to be recovered,
Yes.
because now that taxpayers' money is taken away from road construction, bridge
Mm,
construction,
mm,
to investigating, and yet you stole something.
mm,
So
mm.
I need to see something happening.
I mean, gentlemen, you know me how I feel on these things. You know me how I feel on these things. So I really don't want to go into it because I get emotional about it. I'm still waiting for Lusambo, the bulldozer's case to be finalized. And just this past week, actually, Mr. Kampiongo and his wife were put on defense. They were found with a case to answer. So I'm still waiting to see what happens there. And then on top of that, we have people like uh, I mean, I don't want to go that path where, I'm describing the way people describe him, but
Mm,
the former vice president, given, is it, he was a vice president, I mean, justice minister, given Movinda.
mm,
And so, people like the former defense minister and our own, UPND vice president, uh, 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 Jeff remember, when, when, when every time it's their time to go to court, you know, their excuses until last year were, well, my back hurts, I can't sit in the court, or I'm sick today, or I have a sore throat. Uh, the same day they are seen, especially in the case of Mr. Luvinda, he's seen at a YOMAP's concert.
mm,
So I mean,
mm,
yeah, the 5 months, grace period that this law brings, I really hope, and I'm praying that not just that we recover these monies or properties. I want to see these people in jail.
mm.
That's all I want to see,
Yeah,
because
agree.
2026 is going to be a very hard year for the UPND to
Mm.
go campaign on corruption. If there's nobody serving in jail, if they just give up their property, after giving us all these lame excuses to drag on their cases because they believe that 2026 they have a chance to reclaim power from the UPND. I've said too much. Let me bring in Mr. Kalapa. Has been too quiet, and I'm pretty sure he has something to say on that. Mr. Kalapa, your comment.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that we have people that squandered the resources of the country. Still seeing them walking with their heads high. I don't know. Maybe because of maybe because they've been in our country for too long. But if you look at other countries like Europe, those are the people that wouldn't have been walking in the street. Either they would have been hiding, in shame. But it's like people that store a lot back home. Those are the people that walk with their heads high. So it's high time, the law catches up with them, so that it sets up a good lesson to the others, because Zambia is too big, and then you can't just let these people loose because the others are watching. So if these people are let loose, just think of if what will happen even before elections. People will start stealing. They'll be like, oh, after all, nobody went to jail, so let me just grab something here before the term ends. That's what they can do that. But if people are in jail, they'll respect the law. A human mind is not difficult to follow the law. Just put 1, 2, 3 people, then they'll learn. They'll be like, oh no, it shouldn't be like this, because it's not our money. It's the government. It's the people's money. It's not the government's. It's the people's money. That's why people are missing the point.
Absolutely, Mr. Kalapa. Wonderful submissions there. Mr. Kombe, I'm sure you have one or two things to say about that.
Correct. I like the point where you said it's going to be very hard for the UPND to come back in 26 and talk about corruption if we haven't seen any action or people saving. I like the president's mind. I like where he is on saying, being very uh, vocal in saying justice should prevail. But I urge him to press it on more, um, even to the point of going to change the system. The way judges come into power and start saving on these benches should change. You cannot have judges being put in power through appointments, through the administrations that are in power. Most of these judges, or a good fraction of them, have been judges in the space of 10 years. PF has been in power for 10 years, starting from President Satan through ECL's 7 years. So most of these people are loyal. They are loyal to the people who appointed them. So now you come in as a new administration and you're saying these people are corrupt. Do you really expect those people to be very fair and actually call out these people and give them sentences if they're guilty? No, you don't. So I think the judiciary should be separated from the system. The president should put measures in place, situations where some of these judges run for office. Let the people vote them into power so that if people see that these cases are brought before these men or women and they're not acted upon fairly, they are voted out of power. You need that. A good example I can give you is at a time when there was I think HH took during the elections in 16, when the president UPND took the case to the Corn Court. Guess what? The Corn Court was constituted by judges who were nominated by ECL. And some were even, I don't want to mention names, but were taken from abroad to come and sit on those benches. Did you really think those people were going to vote in favor of HH? No, they didn't. The case was lost on a technicality. Oh, 14 days, 10 days. That's all. It's because they had to pay homage. For those who are in the US, there was a time when the presidency in 2000 was, especially in Florida, there was a case in Florida, in West Palm Beach, They had to take it to the Supreme Court of uh, Florida. And because the bench was heavily uh, tilted to Republicans, they voted to take it to the Supreme Court of the United States, where Republicans had numbers, and most of the judges there were put on the bench or appointed, uh, nominated by Republican presidents. In the end, Bush was given the presidency based on just party affiliation. Most of those sitting judges there could not go against Republican presidents. So it's the same even in Zambia. If I'm a church, start working on that. Let judges be elected. We can do that. Lusaka judge, that in this district, judges being appointed. So when people see the injustice and it's time for election, they can easily take you out. Positions like judges, like police commissioners, let them be elected. So the president will face a lot of frustration because the system, I want to believe, as a fraction of people who are loyal to the people who appointed them. It's just human nature. They give you a job and you're not going to come here and say, ECL, guilty. It's just human nature. So if we want to avoid that, the president, that's the route he should go. Or else I see a situation where the president will be very frustrated. And it will be very difficult for him and the UPND to come and say, uh, we don't want corruption. Because people will say, you had 5 years. Tell us who is in jail right now. And it's not enough. I want to age, I'd like to age the judicial system. It's not enough for you to just go around and say, if you come out and you tell us that you stole, we just take what you have and you're scot free. It's not enough. That's injustice by itself. These people, it's okay to strike deals where people become witnesses. That's normal. And that's how it helps for cases to be disposed of. But then you have to announce to say Francis was found wanting. He has pleaded guilty to stealing 100 million. We have repossessed all this, but he's still going to save, instead of saving 20 years, he will save 3 years. That is justice, and people see that. Instead of just people going behind closed doors and declaring, I stole, so take the things, and you don't even write about it. If these small people are coming out and saying, I have intel on this such and such, you have to write about it and let those people testify, even behind closed doors, against those people. That is the color of justice. So this thing of just saying we've repossessed 300 homes in 4,000 cars and people don't see names, that's going to be a very tough sell. So I think the whole system should be looked at differently.
Absolutely, Mr. Comber. You hit the
Nail on the
what is
head.
it? Yeah, exactly. That's exactly where I was going with that. That's why, when I saw Timothy Mono announce to the nation that in the last quarter they recovered almost $1 billion. Oh my God, sorry, Quacher, Quacher. I was waiting on him to tell me who gave up what, where, how was the deal structured. I wasn't given that, so I wasn't impressed at all with that announcement. So I'm still waiting for more. So I think on that, I think until we bring in somebody from the Ministry of Justice to explain further there, or maybe the ACC themselves. I think we may have to put a footnote there, but maybe before we do that, this is for something to think about. Zambia has 20 million people now, and you're looking at the judicial system with only 100 judges to sit over their cases. I think there's also a case of our judges being overworked because if deep thinker, if you divide the numbers, there are hundreds judges against 20 million people. Let's just think about that. one judge per how many people? That's just a lot. So maybe this government needs to look at employing more judges. However we do it, it's either we go by what Mr. Combe has suggested to vote them in, or you set up. I don't know, but something's gotta give because you cannot have one judge. According to my numbers, I could be wrong. Maybe 250,000 people cases. That's a whole lot. Because even I, as much as I know or feel I'm a super lady, I cannot do that. These judges are only human, so they're susceptible to so many challenges as humans. So okay, so I've said too
Madam
much
Moderator,
there.
I have an
Go ahead.
addition based on what you've just said. A
Go
quick one.
ahead.
Another thing that I think that can help our country is we need an investigative wing, a bureau that can be in between the police and the OP. In this is non-partisan. A good example I can give you here is the FBI in the United
Hmm.
States. That's what we need. This issue of using the police force to investigate criminal issues should be done away with. It's too it's too close to the system. Uh,
So,
police,
so why do we have SEC and our DEC? Why do we have those two institutions?
but they don't have the necessary apparatus to
Well,
But you
investigate.
see, the
They also
ACC, they're
so
in charge of corruption, and then the DIG is drugs.
exactly. But
That's
you
the
need
difference. Yeah.
yes. So why don't we do this? Just like what you're saying, riding on your point. Why don't we combine these two institutions and make it into a Zambia Bureau of Investigation? It becomes
correct.
one unit. When it comes to drugs, it's a one unit. When it comes to corruption, it's one unit. You place them, you find a place for them where they can operate. If you want, mwashita chifinde computing century, it becomes your operating point. Then you have all the systems in place. Ama cameras, you have them. You're able to trace each and every criminal. You see, because they installed Dama cameras, but what are they using them for? You see, so what they do, Kunoko, like here in the Western world, you have, like you said, the FBI, there's the CIA, Vakapokola, they work in hand with them. Ngafika complicated cases here. They Vakapokola, they call in the FBI. So Mozambia, same thing. Ngafika in a complicated case, we call in a certain institution that we don't know yet what it's going to be called, or it doesn't exist yet. So those are the people that we need. So our SEC and our DEC should be one unit, make it one name. These will be professionals, and these will be a standard point, an institution that will clear or handle all complicated crimes. Mama.
Great. On that, before we move away from this, I think I can see Deep Thinker's eyes are twinkling. He has something to say. Go
I'll be
ahead,
very
Deep
brief.
Thinker.
I'll be very brief.
uh,
Structures are there and the structures are in place. We need to restructure the judiciary and the Zambian constitution. If those two are fine tuned, then the structures will be able to work properly. We're talking about investigations here, and then when they get to the judiciary, then there's a delay. I'm sick. I'm sneezing. I can't show up. No, we need the judiciary and the constitution to be really fine tuned. You can never come up with a perfect constitution, but we need to fine tune it because from 1964, if you think about how many times the Constitution has been looked at and tried to change things, it's leaning towards the political parties. We need, this is the time we need to sit down and refine our Constitution and refine the judiciary. And then the rest of it, I think, will fall in place.
all right, we leave it there. It was just a footnote. Now we move on to my favorite subject of the week. And that favorite subject of the week, do you did think I did touch on it briefly? It's the arrest of Munia Zulu and his friend Fube Bwalia. Is it Mulenga Bwalia? Of because they couldn't meet their bail. Pfizer Zulu. What is this
Also,
Pfizer? What's his name again? Sorry, Pfizer Zulu. That's
Kaiser
what
Zulu.
I said.
Kaiser.
Kaiser Zulu.
Kaiser Zulu.
yes, so,
Yeah. So basically, yeah,
Madam Moderator,
Kaiser's. Yeah, I mean, let me just. Who is calling me? Is that Mr. Macha?
Madam Moderator, Mr. Mata,
Yeah.
he had the hiccup somewhere. Now, may I contribute this fact?
Yes. Go
World
ahead, Macha.
over, world over, we've got these investigative wings that are differently operating underground.
Mm-hmm.
Take the likes of the New Scotland Yard.
Mm-hmm.
There's police quite alright in UK, everything, but there's just a department, New Scotland Yard. They are called to handle complex cases. I remember very well in the 80s, 90s, a minister in Kenya was burned alive. No one knew who killed him, but when the Scotland Yard was called in, at least they gave some credible things that were good clues
Mm-hmm.
to have the death of that minister probed. So we need the likes of the New Scotland Yard. SEC, yes, they do their work, DEC, but more like a duplication. So we need something that is really independent. Yes, there's the financial crimes, and what is this thing? The financial
Financial
intelligence
crimes and
center,
unit court. Yeah.
yeah, and even the financial intelligence center. You see,
Yes.
we have
Taika.
a lot of structures, but we are not seeing persecution that is equivalent to the structures that are there. If SEC could handle a case, persecute it, finish it up, DEC finish it up, say three of them. Why haven't we seen maybe 3 successful cases being done? It's not happening. So we need something like that to jack up the work of these investigative wings. Zambia police, we see acquittals. Someone has walked away with a crime. It's not just we will not fear. We want a situation where someone stole, they have buried cars underground, they have evaded tax. Come on,
Mm-hmm.
we feel the pinch. Us who pay tax. Now here is this
Mm-hmm.
guy that evades tax. The next thing, he's free. The next thing, he's taken for medical. He's evacuated medical condition. Please, let's be serious. It's our only country that we have. Zambia is not a joke. Zambia is real. The problems that are there are being faced by, especially those that pay tax. We feel the
Mm-hmm.
pinch.
Mm-hmm.
And where we see someone has stolen public wealth, I mean, we want to see them persecuted. We want to see them go behind bars. And on the point of judges not being enough in Zambia, that's a very true thing. We can start by having a district attorney at every district, much as we have a district commissioner, district whatever, education board, health. Why don't we start with a district attorney? Every district having a district attorney, you'll find that people will be more knowledgeable about the legal system in Zambia. It's not every time that they will rush to Lusaka, High Court, Constitutional Court. Some matters don't need to go that far. Justice delayed is justice denied. But someone also said justice hurried is justice denied. So whichever, justice grinds at its own rate. But if you bring it closer to the people, it can have meaning. The position of district attorney must be there. Okay, how many teachers were employed recently? 7,000.
I was actually, Mr. Macha, I was just coming to that.
Yes. Now, out of those 7,000 teachers, just reserve 136. How many districts? 116 positions. You just employ a district attorney. We can start maybe even at just a diploma in law. They can be paid. That office can be created. I rest my case.
Mr. Martin, we up.
Good points.
Very good points. Yeah, yeah. Very, very good points. Uh, Ladies and gentlemen, I think we need to go into the another the next topic so that
Yes,
we.
Bachelor, hold on just a second. Bachelor, hold
Mm,
on just a second.
mm,
Let me add a new entrant. Okay. All right. So yeah. So where are you? Okay, let's go to the next topic. But I hope you are introducing the Kaiser Zoo fiasco because I want to hear what the participants have to say on that. Maybe before you do that, let's
mm.
bring in Mr. We have a new entrant, Daniel Mavu. Please welcome to our podcast. Introduce yourself and tell us where you are joining us from. We are talking justice. We will bring you on as we go on with the conversation. Please introduce yourself for right now.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Daniel Mavu. I'm joining from Windhoek. But I'm not staying long. I'm just hearing a bit because it's time to sleep now.
Oh, what time is it there?
Mi-
Now it's 10 in the night.
Oh, okay.
Mm,
Ah,
yeah.
so you're
All right,
coming
Mr.
from
Mavu.
Namibia? Namibia, is it?
Yes. Yes,
Oh,
in Namibia.
thank you for joining
Mm.
us. Thank you for joining us.
Have you been listening into the topics, Miss? So maybe before you go to sleep, we'll give you, a few minutes to comment on the topics tonight. So we were just talking about the Judge Katanekwa's firing by Bali, and of course we touched on the the ACC announcement of recovering 1 billion kwacha from suspected plunderers in the last quarter. So maybe a comment on that before we wish you good night.
Yes. I think my only comment is I'm really happy with what is going on, the checks and balances, because really the judiciary had gone rogue in Zambia. They could do as they please. They were God, sort of, semi God, and they wanted themselves to be at that level. But now, I think things are back to normal. People are accountable, and that's what we are. That's what pleases me. There is accountability now. I think I won't comment much.
Well,
No,
we
that's fine.
appreciate
That's
you
fine.
join
Thank
us
you.
from ma'am, the fact that you're supporting us from Namibia just stopped us. Some of us, we are descendants from. I'm already getting text here from my father's village in Shikatende. They're very happy about that support. Actually, you are about to introduce us to the Kaiser Zulu fiasco. This will be Munia Zulu and his counterpart. Is it
Oh,
Mulenga Fube or Wali? I mean, I'm confused
oh,
because I know
oh
a
man.
Fube Wali and everybody else. I'm confused. So go ahead, Chupia.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that case is if you are but in any case, thank you, my brother from Namibia, for joining us. And then, I hope that the Namib Desert is still as beautiful as it was a long time ago. That's an amazing place to be. The Namib Desert is so beautiful.
It
So,
is
but
actually it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Mm.
But nan kind of the Kaiser Zulu case na Munia Zulu. He came into an agreement with his friend to say, Mona, I'm in trouble. I need some money for bailout. He provided that money, but the friend ran away. So,
No. Let's correct that, Chupia. The thing is, Kaiser Zulu was arrested for some shenanigans. Okay, he went to court. That's just the, how it works in Zambia. It works in court, and the judge said, "Hey, yes, you can go out on bail, but you need to provide two sureties."
Sureties, yes.
Okay, yeah, and the two sureties that signed on his bill were who? Now you
Well,
can check it up.
well, of course, that's what I was saying. So
Uh-huh.
Munia Zulu, it was a surety, one of the sureties. And after providing that surety, what happened? Kaiser Zulu ran away. So when the laws of Zambia are very clear when it comes to these matters. If you come in and you come as a surety for a person, and then Uyomuntu maybe he skips town or skips court, they'll hold you responsible for that. It's
Hmm.
that's the law. That's just the law. You know, there's nothing complicated about it.
Hmm.
So this is the situation Munia Zulu is in.
And not just him, and his friend Kube, Mulenga Kube. Now, I think the most important question, Mr. Chutia, and the rest of the panel here is that why did Kaiser Sulu and Fumiwanga rush to ECL's residence right after they met Bell? That is
Well,
the question.
we don't
Let's
know that.
start
And
with,
we don't
yeah,
even know where
so,
Kaiser Zulu is at this point. That's the one big
yes.
thing. The biggest
Mhm.
question is where is he's a fugitive? Where is
Yes.
he? Nobody knows
Where
where
is
he is.
Interpol? Where is
So those are the
Interpol?
questions that we need to
Interpol.
ask ourselves.
Yeah, so
Where is
let's
Interpol?
start. Let's start with the man who just came from Zambia. I think he had some insights to that. For
Uh,
me, my question is why they went to ECL's house. Uh, um, Jim Finker, you've been too quiet. You want to take
let me
this?
say something. Can I say
Oh,
something?
Mr. Macha. Okay, go ahead before we come to Jim Finker.
You know, to rush to ECL's house, it's like that is an operations center for a lot of activities. You know, you are getting there maybe for advice, you are getting there for connections. It's an operations center for anything. So maybe when they rush there, maybe we are talking about judge system, judges. The PF left a system. They were even claiming that they had people that were loyal to them. So they still had some clout. So to rush to ECL's home after that could be a way of getting fresh networks that could enable them be or disappear.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can
Well,
I come in,
respect that.
Madam Moderator?
Please come
Yes.
in, Makon.
Mkwaye. I think this has been, to me, a very sad period. These two MPs have been treated like kings. It's just sad to see the judiciary. Every time they appear, they say, "Give us some more time. We're looking for him." I mean, if you and I had signed surety for somebody, we could have been in jail by now. But it comes back to the same thing I was saying. The PF still has tentacles in the judiciary system.
Yes.
This man is not a king. He's not above the law. Kaiser is not, right? These men came out and they signed surety as sureties for him. They should be in cells right now because they were given time to look for him. That's how the law should work. But we see time and time again, every week, they're given more time. Okay, now go and look for him. They come back and they okay, now this time really look for him. It's ridiculous and it's an embarrassment to the judiciary. Actually, the judicial system is being played, and it boils down to what we've been saying.
Mhm.
These political parties, they appointed these judges, so these judges they are not going to come out now. And they're mocking the system, and that's the reason why they could run to ECL. They're mocking the system, and it's sad. If I'm a church, like I said, start looking at how judges are appointed. Let's take this to the people, so that every time a judge goes astray during his tenure, when elections come about, people can fire him or her. or rehire them. So it's just frustrating, and
Rakonde,
Kaiser
one
knows
question.
nothing will happen.
Yeah, that's a
No,
very
no,
good
no. Yeah,
observation,
Dr.
Rakonde.
Hold on just a second before you come in. Let Deep Thinker come in. He's been quiet, and then we'll go to Rakalaka before we come to you.
I really don't know what the law says about sureties and what happens if the person escapes the law. I don't know. I can't speak to that. But my personal feeling, I don't have anything to back this up. My personal feeling is that Lungu knows where Kaiser Zulu is. Because having been a president, he should have an interest in where a fugitive is. Because this is not just a regular person. This is a person who was with the president most of the time. He's a national security problem right now. We don't know what Kaiser Zulu is doing out there. He might be raising money for PF to cause confusion. He might be selling national interest and national information out there. And for somebody who has been a president to not have an interest in the bringing back of Kaiser, it raises a lot of eyebrows. The judges, I can understand, their hands are tied. Maybe their hands are tied. I can understand that, but that is above them. A few months ago, we talked about the biggest problem. For me, the biggest problem is not PF reorganizing to try and come back. It's the PF destabilizing the country from outside. Now we have somebody outside who knows a lot about how the government runs in Zambia because he was besides the president most of the time. And the president, the former president, is quiet about it.
Can I
So
contribute
that is
something?
my
Maybe
biggest worry for me. He could be
can
in
I contribute
Zimbabwe.
something?
Remember, our relationship with
Mr.
Zimbabwe
Masha,
is
hold on,
not
hold on.
Yes, I'm holding.
All right. Mr. Kalapa, please come in. You've been too quiet. I know you have something to say.
Yeah, those are very good thoughts, Mr. Deep Thinker. Yeah, it's just surprising that every tenure that we change, we have people that run away
correct.
from our country. We have had so many fugitives. So are we gonna make it a trend? And then the world drought nowadays is too small. There's no way we can be looking for Kaiser Zulu like a needle.
Correct.
It's not possible. There's so many networks around. He can use a card. We'll know where it's coming from. He can plane. We'll know where he is. So I don't know. I think I would say even the government, maybe they even know where he is.
Correct.
Because there's no way he's just too big for him to disappear like that. Yeah, that's what I can say. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Chilufya, I know you are eager. Come in now.
What I was just thinking of saying was, I think people know where Kaiser Zulu is. It's not that really complicated. Just like Wakalapa is saying. And as a matter of fact, even himself, Udanika Nyoria, Munia, knows where he is.
Yeah.
But it's a fact of that. Do I turn my brother in? So it's like, look, you are my brother. Whatever it is, I don't know the relationship really, but they are both Zulus. But look, and they're highly connected to the PF. So they might have instructions from Lungo say, guy, look, let him be where he is. But if really they had to interrogate him properly, he would reveal where Kaiser Zulu is. And at some point, he mentioned that this is somewhere in South Africa. And I don't think he has even crossed over overseas. He's still within, either South Africa or Zimbabwe, somewhere there. He can be traced. It's very easy and simple. But
Can I come in?
All right, they're playing politics. Mr. Masha, you can now come in.
when I was talking about us avoiding SCC deck, I talked of introducing something like a Scotland Yard.
Hmm.
Maybe we involve Scotland Yard to get Kaiser. Kaiser is not a big thing. When Scotland Yard comes in to look for him, it's just nearby. Use Scotland Yard can do that work. If we pay, people must pay for their crimes. We need, you see, we should not let people go scot free. There can be examples. People can learn from what they have done and not say, "Oh, this is bad. If I do this." So if a fugitive runs away like that and no one is not arrested, oh, then we just have to make effort, all of us, that each time we run away, we are not caught. This needs to be put to an end. You need to know that the world is not where you can run and hide. No. You should know that at one point or another, even when you go under the sea, you can be caught. But like in this trend, it's fashion. It's set a trend which everyone can follow. Generations to come. Imagine our children asking us maybe years from now, what did you do about this fugitive? Hey, the Zambian law is very weak. Surely is the law very weak? We can network with countries. That man has got a card. He cannot do transactions without money. Surely from the banking sector, you can't trace Kaiser Zulu.
Maybe Mr. Mata is using cash. I mean, let's just maybe Mr. Kaiser he doesn't need a card. He's using cash. Let's just remember we have one solid case of one Faith Musenda who had 65 million. What's a, yeah,
Uh-huh.
65 million, was that dollars or
But much as someone is using cash, every country has got limits on how much cash you can have. You are traceable. Does he spend $1 every day?
Unless they're
Does
protected
he
by the
spend
government, where
I
they're
think
does
fugitives.
he spend
Don't
$1
forget.
every day for him not to be caught?
can I come in on
Well,
this?
Spends
I,
more.
I think
yes,
Come
I
in.
was actually going to come to Mr. Kombe. I think we shashed him before he was done with his contribution. Mr. Kombe, please come in.
yes. I think also the reason why people continue to run away it's because the people who sign up as surety are not punished. If you stiffen the punishment for people who sign up for others and they run away, it means the next culprit, if he's looking for people to sign for as surety, they will not sign. So guess what? He will be in the country or she will be in the country. So for as long as the law is not hard enough on people who sign as surety, like Munir and the Fube guy can just jump around and they know maybe they are helping him. Well, everybody will continue to have surety. So it's the same with corruption. We've been saying these things. For as long as some people are not used as examples, give stiff punishments for people who engage in massive corruption, then everybody will be scared. Look at the Middle East. They chop off hands, they do public lashing. Everybody's scared of doing it. Francis has stolen 1 million. We are caning Francis. We'll give him 200 strokes in the streets of Lusaka. Guess what? All those who are watching, they will not do it. So sometimes it helps. Set people as examples.
That's true.
And when it comes back to one Kaiser Zulu. I think also the case that is wanted for is not really big. And that's the reason why the government maybe has not used their assets or machinery to fish him out. If you remember very well, for those that maybe might not know, the only reason he's wanted in court is for contempt, actually, in an immigration case. So very small. He was given a case to appear in court and he did not appear. So I don't see the government really putting machinery to go and fish him out. Now, if it was something like treason, he could have been in Zambia by now. So the case is small and they're looking at it and they don't want to overcommit. It's
Bakombe,
just too expensive.
it can be small,
Can I come
but
in? Is there a small
Because
looking
case
at
how
the
where
many
No,
people are you
history,
I
going to
think
fall?
gentlemen, before you all
that
come
at
in,
times,
Mr. Gentlemen,
small
before
case
you all
of this
come in,
case?
we have a new entrant. So I'm obliged to introduce this new entrant to the rest of the panelists. CK International, please identify yourself, where you are joining us from. We are talking, Bali inspiring of Katanekwa. We're talking the 1,000 billion kwacha that was recovered from, fraudsters, corrupt individuals, or whatever process was gotten illegally. And now we are talking Munia Zulu and Fobe rushed to ECL's house immediately after they made bail. Please come in.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hope my microphone is loud and clear.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes. My name is Chiaba Kasapu. I am. Those are my Zambian names, and it's my first time being on this forum. Just curious that every time I have wanted to come on, I have missed it due to my zoning, and I know it's not an excuse, but I'm glad today I've been able to make it. I'm in an area where I can really put my cam on uh, due to uh, factors beyond my control. But otherwise, uh, I don't know what else you wanted me to introduce myself.
Well, that's
Probably,
enough. Just comment on the topics that we're talking about right now.
yeah. And regarding the topic, I I I'm not so familiar with the topic. I know there are a few things that have taken place. I'm more of a learner at the moment to understand what is really going on because I've not really been involved with a lot of the mishaps that have happened back home. Um, and in addition to all this, I'm more of a solution seeker. I know we have a lot of things that happen, but the key, I believe, to the progress that we really need is to find a solution that is can be embarked on and used to not only stabilize ourselves in a little way or in a big way, because there is a lot that we have missed out. There's a lot that has been lost out. There's a lot that needs to be reversed in order for progress to happen. And one of my mentors said, "It is not all motion that is progress." So, having said this, I will leave it into competent hands like yours and be there to listen, to educate myself, and comment where is necessary.
We appreciate you coming in, Mr. CK. I'll leave it there. For a moment, I thought it was Chishin Bakabwe. It's a joke.
Thank you very much, Mr. T.
I'm just joking. All right, gentlemen. I think here's my last footnote on the Kaiser Munia Zulu thing. Here's what I think why Kaiser Zulu rushed over to see. I think Israel paid for their 100,000 kwacha bail condition that they had to meet at the court, because we all know that Israel has been paying for all these bills, starting from now. Emmanuel Mamba hit me up on the side. I can explain. Uh, we know that ECL did pay for Chibakambwili, GBM, that little man from Southern Province. What's his name? I've forgotten.
Monde. Monde.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody else who were running for the PF sham of a presidential election. You remember the rebranding? I think ECL paid for that. And so he even paid for Munir's bail condition and Fube. So, so that's why they went over there to pay homage for him, settling the bill. So, having said that, we move on to the next topic, which is this week 7,000 teachers got new jobs in the Zambian government. I'm going to marry the two because Gentlemen, my whole goal today was to have 1 hour of this podcast, but here we are. Like we do every weekend, we are going beyond the 1 hour because the topics are just, hot, and everybody's contributing very profusely here. So let's talk about the 7,000 new teachers, being given jobs finally in government, and we also talk about the increments that the civil servants got this week. And I know beginning when the week started, we had people from the PL, or singing their loudest on social media about government failing to pay civil servants new wage bill. So, gentlemen,
Mm-hmm.
your comments on, let's just marry the two because I don't want to do them separately because they
May I,
seem similar. Gentlemen, let's
may
start
I start
with Mr.
with
Masha. I think Mr.
7,000?
Masha is,
Yes.
yeah, Mr. Masha is
But
twitching. Go ahead,
Mr.
Mr. Masha.
Macha, Mr. Macha is a teacher, and when
Mm-hmm.
he hears that 7,000 plus teachers being enrolled, it has greatly reduced the teacher pupil ratio. I can't teach a class of 90 pupils who all need to be attended to in 25 minutes when there was COVID because we couldn't exceed. Who
Mm-hmm.
am I to handle 90 plus 25 minutes? It's not just possible. The 7,000 teachers are going to contribute to the tax. The 7,000 teachers will support 7,000 families. The 7,000 teachers will create 7,000 bank accounts. The 7,000 teachers will increase to the pension funds. It has a multiplier effect. I can go on up to midnight explaining the benefits.
Mm-hmm.
You see, to employ 7,000 teachers also means that we are trying to attain the education for all objective, where we leave no one behind.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm teaching, there are schools that have two teachers, schools that run from grade 1 to 7. One teacher, they've even allocated themselves. One teacher teaches from 8 to about 12.
Mm-hmm.
Then the other one takes over from 12 to about 16 hours. They're just the two of them. What kind of job would you do? All the grades. Even when it's called multi-grade teaching, it's not just feasible. The numbers are massive.
Mm-hmm.
7,000 teachers is a step in the perfect direction. Someone said the movement without direction is nothing. What did you say? Yeah, but this time, this movement is positive. It will help a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I submit.
Brilliant, brilliant, Mr. Martin, brilliant. I mean, I am just filled with warmth because we are now talking to somebody who's actually dealing with these things on a daily basis. Somebody who, exactly, Martin, okay, maybe before we go to the deep thinker, please come in. I mean, we have two topics running here concurrently. We have the
Yeah,
7,000 employment and the wage bill that was the new wage bill that was made by the new Dawn government.
I think it's a good move. Look, the current government is doing what it can do in this situation, and everything that the current government is doing is a positive move. One, 7,000 jobs. Okay, so just like the previous speaker said, they've empowered 7,000 families. Can you imagine that? Now, this is just out of the helm of the 30,000 that was done last year. Okay. Now, addition to that, there's 7,000. And it's a rumor that there's going to be another, maybe 2,000 coming in the,
It's
in
not
the,
rumored. It's not rumored. It's 4,005. It's in the budget.
yes. So now we are employing people to go into jobs, employing government, families, empowering. It's a way of empowering families. Because Abantu, they don't understand this. Like especially about PF, I think they need to wake up and start seeing what's going on. Ichalo muntu ngana ukwate inchito ulebomba waya Monday to Friday. You get your pay slip. They pay you at the end of the month. You're taking care of your family. You're taking care of your children. You're a single mother. You're a teacher. You take care of your kids. Now, they did not look into this because balefwafye inda makushita fe dish out. If you ever go at oh here you are nakupera 10,000 no hand it became hand to mouth. But here we're saying, look, we want you.
Can I chip in just there?
Go ahead.
Chip in just there. No, when you say that 7,000 teachers have been employed, you see, they are causing a change to humankind for generations to come.
Yes.
The change is not short term.
Yes.
Long term. We won't feel it now. It will reduce poverty levels that are currently at how many percent? Is it 80, 70? 7,000 teachers, please.
You know, it's funny you've mentioned that point. It's funny you've mentioned there, but well, it's good you've mentioned it actually.
Yes.
We actually appreciate teachers because it's a service. You can imagine a teacher, it's a service. Then you produce somebody, he becomes an HH. Okay?
Yes.
So those are the benefits of becoming a teacher. And me, that's why I always appreciated all my teachers from primary to secondary school, because they shaped us, they taught us,
they did.
And we learned from them. Aside from our parents at home, when you're at school, your teachers are also your parents.
Second parents. Local parentis. It's called local parentis.
You see? So that's how it is. So we learn from we are at home. It's your mother, your father, but when you're at school, the teachers, they teach you, no, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, because you're spending your time almost half of the time there at school. And you build us, and you encourage us, and you tell us, look, we've discovered the skill in you. You see, there's a skill. Every child has a skill, and you're able to identify it as a teacher. You say, no, this is your skill. This is your talent.
7,000 people go out to mold society. Imagine. To correct the wrongs, the ills that have been there. The junkies. They've had no time to get into school. Surely those 7,000 teachers will not have an impact on those junkies. If we can have junkies starting to love school because the numbers in class have reduced.
Yes.
Hey, HH, come on.
Oh my goodness. All right, we are not at a campaign rally, gentlemen.
No,
let's move on. I'm just joking. I'm just kidding again. Gentlemen, Jim Thinker, you have your comments on that.
Yes, I do. It's a very good development given that we have free education now. So a lot of students have come back to public education and were strained as far as student-teacher ratio. This is a very, very good development. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm never a blind follower. I'm going to speak my mind on some things. One, I'm celebrating 7,000 teachers. Now, I would like to know the distribution of those teachers in the schools, the rural schools particularly. I want to know how that distribution is going to be, because we might be talking about 7,000 teachers that might not be there or available. That's the first thing. The second thing is I would like the permanent secretary to roll out the curriculum, because last time it was just dropped that this is what is going to happen with the curriculum, but I don't think there was a deeper dive into what the curriculum looks like. Because
because we're still trying to get somebody to the ministry to talk about that. Go ahead.
You can have 7,000 teachers that are in the schools with a bad curriculum. That's where I'm trying to get at. So I need that information to be rolled out so that when we talk about 7,000 teachers, we know that they are going in a structure that is going to help our students. So those are some of my comments, because I know for sure some of the teachers, 7,000 teachers, some of them will refuse to go to Lugwalo because they are already doing very well with their small businesses that they have established.
No, 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 no. Deep finger. I take great exception to that. You know, when you mentioned Lugwa, you know, you're touching my heart there. Why would teachers go to Lugwa when they have been on the streets of wherever town they have been for 10 years without a job? Why would you take up a teaching position in Lugwa that's going to pay you at least 8,000 kwacha? Come on now, Deep Thinker.
No, no, all I'm saying is that imagine some of these kids, they have never been anywhere outside of Lusaka, Kitwendola. And then you tell these kids you're going to Bangweulu to be a teacher there, and there's no electricity in there. And you see, the 7,000. I'm yet to. I'm waiting for that moment when they report, so that we say out of the 7,000, this is the number that has reported to implement this curriculum. That's what all I'm saying.
Can you hear this
All
from a
right.
teacher? Hear
Yes,
this
go
from a teacher.
ahead, Mr. Macha, before we go to Mr. Kalapa.
It's very difficult to get a transfer now. Very, very difficult to get a transfer from a rural school to an urban center where you just like go on your own. The only thing that's happening is maybe there's swapping. Someone comes from the rural area and goes to the urban area, or urban area to rural area. Those teachers are guaranteed because they won't be paid a salary not until they report at that school. They have to report. They have to fill in forms. They have to be seen that they're working. That's when they'll be paid the salary. So chances of those 7,000 teachers going to see to the actual schools they were sent to are more than 95%. There will be exceptional cases. Some over this time that they have been waiting maybe have developed conditions that require them to be near hospitals. Those cases should be understood, but those that are physically fit and are anxious to work, they'll certainly go and work. Because when they're on the streets, they started some businesses quite all right. Now, this is a chance for them to even maybe acquire a loan. How do you acquire a loan if you don't go for work? You need to work, you need to be seen to be working for you to be given a loan. So they will certainly report for work. They are anxious.
Oh, great, Mr. Mata. We appreciate that.
So
And not
can I
only
make
that, no, before you come in, you know, let me just add on here. They have what is called rural allowance now. So that's also a
Yes.
motivation. Go ahead, Deep Thinker.
just one
Rural,
comment? I have I have four nephews that I know now that have gone back to school for something else. So if those four are part of the 7,000, they are not going. That's
then
all
they
I'm
can
saying. They
be,
haven't been sitting waiting. Some of them they
Mhm.
have made alternative arrangements.
Mhm.
That's all I'm saying.
There are many that were
Great,
not
Miss.
fit.
Yeah,
Many
and you
were
know,
not
like
fit.
my yeah, many were not my sister is a my younger sister is a civics English teacher. She has not
Mhm.
been picked for the second time around, but you know, we are happy with everybody that was picked. But Mr. Karapa, do you want to come in and comment on the 7,000 teachers that have been
Correction.
employed? Go
Correction.
ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Teacher of
Sema,
English. Correction. Teacher of
Oh,
English.
or teacher of
Is she a
English.
white
Go
woman?
ahead. Oh.
Is she a white woman? When you say
No,
English teacher,
my sister is the
teacher,
same complex. My sister is the same complexion as mine. Now, Mr.
teacher,
Massey, you're
teacher
becoming
of English.
political. This
Teacher of
Mr.
English.
Massey, you are becoming political on this podcast. But we take
Teacher
that,
of English.
Mr. Kala. All right, we get it. Mr. Harper, please come in.
Yeah, 7,000 is quite a number. And it's surprising that even as people are saying things are hard, the economy is not good, but the president is able to employ more people. That shows that Zambia is rich. And we haven't even touched the other sectors because he knows where the brain is supposed to be used. Let's employ these people, let them gain money, they will return back the money to the economy. Because if you look at the system itself, a country without educated people is not a country. How can you have leaders, with the people that cannot be led? So we need to teach everybody, to all corners of our country, which is very good. So the 7,000, now here comes a catch to it. The housing is where the problem will be, because the rate at which people are being employed, especially when it comes to teachers, because they can be sent all over. So if you send somebody to Mwinilunga, is there a guarantee that there will be a house there? So those are the things that they should also be pushing this.
All right, Mr. Nacha, before you come in, let me bring in a new entrant, hold on, Mr. Nacha. We have Mr. Is it Helly Kwamana Kwenda? Please introduce yourself. We are talking about the new employment of, we lost him. Go ahead, Mr. Nacha.
You see, when you talk about accommodation, government is wary of that fact that there isn't enough accommodation for everyone. From rural schools where I am, you won't believe this, even villagers have been empowered. They are building small houses, not very small as in just a rat hole, but 2-roomed, 3-roomed house near the schools or in the villages. Teachers are renting such homes. Villagers are being empowered. And when a teacher will stay in that 2-roomed house, 3-roomed house, he gets what is called as housing allowance. Every month he'll be paying, that household will have an income. And as time goes on, he will feel the impact. When am I going to become my own landlord, my own house? Look at my standards. Such a small house. Small household, small farms, small places are being given to these teachers in the villages. So they end up building house. So the thing of housing is that government does not even care where you come from. For as long as they pay you housing allowance, you can be even staying in your car, go for it. So this thing of there'll be housing is not enough. No, even villages now, teachers are staying in villages.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's
beautiful.
Oh, wow. That's some, I love coming on this podcast. I love coming on that. I love coming on this podcast because, I have people like Miss.
They are happening in Shikatende. Kuna mpundwe ndaisha kushamirimo.
Oh my goodness.
Inbox me after this.
Yes, no, inbox me. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell inbox. I'm going to tell inbox. We'll talk more. You see, I love coming on this podcast because I learn from people that are on the ground, like what Mr. Marsha has been sharing this evening with us. I've lost it. You see, my people in Chikatende support me. I love it. So now, gentlemen, you have ignored the other. So now, let's talk. I'm the gualo. I'm on both sides. So anyway, let's talk about you guys have ignored this topic. This week we saw the opposition coming on here and singing their loudest voice against the delayed payment of increased civil servant salaries. Just 30 seconds. Yeah, so we saw the government actually going ahead and paying the civil servants their new salaries. Your comment on that?
It's a good move.
With that,
Like
yeah.
who didn't want to be who wouldn't want to have a better salary? Like it's so I don't know. And you look, somebody gives you a better salary, everybody is happy, especially the government workers. Like government workers in Zambia are actually the lowest paid
Hmm.
compared to other countries. If you go to
Hmm.
overseas, Vane, the government workers are actually better paid.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
I
yeah,
can I can attest to
you
that.
you see.
I can attest to that. I'm a
And
government
so
worker over here, and
so
But
you
go
can't
ahead.
make the difference here. So we need to rush into that. And actually, Michael Sata, when he came on, he said he wanted massive servants to have a good salary, a highly paid salary, especially about police, so that they don't
Yes,
involve themselves in corruption. You see,
you know,
because there's no way
talking about
twaikala kuno.
Uh-huh.
Kuti wamwe vakapokora kuikata awe uno mudhara nalakupera kofeteni he look at you quite now
nalakutekeramo.
open.
Check it.
You
You
see?
know, when you talk about salary increments, it's for the first time that we are getting salaries that are above the inflation or close to the inflation level.
Oh,
Some
I'm
time
glad to
back it
hear
was
that.
2%,
Hmm.
painful, 3%. No. It's not because when they are going for bargaining, their target
Hmm.
is they must bargain above the inflation rate.
Hmm.
But when you are given the facts when you are given the notorious facts about our
Hmm.
ailing economy,
Hmm.
the economy that is in the doldrum, somehow you have to understand if you ask for 15% because you know that maybe inflation is about 14, and they say, okay, let's meet halfway. Instead of 15, we give you 11, we give you 10. Come on,
Hmm.
it's better. Previously, in the patriotic front, it was
The
3%, 4%.
notorious patriotic front, yes.
No, NPF,
Hmm.
patriotic, patriotic front. It was 3%, which is, I don't know, what can you use from 3%? And inflation is about 20 what percent?
Hmm.
No. That was theft. They were mocking us. They didn't value our input, but now we have
Hmm.
a government that listens. They know when they use numbers, and certainly numbers don't lie.
Hmm.
So it's a good move
Oh,
by that
brilliant.
percentage.
Yeah, brilliant. Deep thinker, come in. And don't say I'm not from Lugwalo. That's not gonna
I'm,
fly.
I'm actually very happy that even the teachers and civil servants in Lugwalo will be able to earn a living. I mean, something to help them out. I mean, in the beginning, I said that on the ground, you can see that the UPND government is working. This is one of the evidences that the government is looking out for people, especially those so-called common people. I'm happy. I'm excited about it. I'm overwhelmed about that.
Thank you. It's on this podcast. It's rare that you find the deep thinker overwhelmed. But let me bring in a new entrant, Mambo Monde. Please introduce yourself. Where you are. We are talking about the new wage increase that has since been honored by the new Don government. Your comment on that, please.
Thank you so much, Mambo Monde from Pika, Zambia.
Welcome, Peter. Go ahead, please.
Uh, can you repeat the question again? I didn't get you
We
properly.
we are talking about the new wage increase by the government Yeah, that they actually paid this past week. Your comment on that, Mr. Monde? You still
Hello.
haven't gotten the question.
I can hardly get you.
We were talking about the. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
So we were talking about the new wage increment honored by the new Dawn government. What's your comment?
Okay, I've gotten the question now. Thank you so much.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think to start with, we've never seen such kind of recruitments by the government. When you look at UNIP, you come to MMD, you come to PF. I think this is the first time we are seeing government employing a huge number of government employees.
Hmm.
I think this is commendable to the UPND government, and we just wish them all the best, and we actually request them or rather appeal to them that they should continue because I think we had a number of people that were not employed.
Hmm.
One of those is actually my wife, who graduated 5 years ago, and she was only employed last year. So I think the new Dawn government is doing so well, and every well-meaning Zambian should actually commend them. And we can even see that I think should be from 2021 or last to 2022. We are even able to see the increment on their salaries. Last year, I think they were given a 10%. By January this year, when they got their salaries, we could see uh, that 10% that they were given. So let's commend the UPND government because I think it's doing quite good in terms of employment and so forth.
Brilliant. I am so happy that we're getting this, first account, y- accounts of the increments and what it's done to our citizens from actual people that are affected. It's so absolutely brilliant to get that. So now, shall we go ahead and do a little politics like we do? Now, here's the thing. Let me just say this. I'm going to put a little card here. We are not going to talk about sports on this podcast today. We are just going to pretend that Zambia was not knocked out this past Wednesday by Morocco, and we're not going to talk anything about Arsenal because Arsenal hasn't played this weekend or anything like that, or the fact that Klopp is leaving Liverpool at the end of the season.
Let's
So
not talk
no
about
sport.
sports. Let's not talk
Yes.
about sports.
So now I'm going to be a little political. Shall we talk about Biswell Bundu's fake tears? That's what I call them. So if what's Biswell Bundu cried, is now rejoined UPND. I mean, what do you think, gentlemen? These defectors. What do you think of them? And then why do we even have um, media gatherings to report on these defections? What's the point? Let me start with the new entrant. Oh no, Mr. Kalapa has been too quiet. But Kalapa, come in. Let's talk about Bismarck Kundu's re-entry into PF.
Yeah, I don't know Bizwe Mpun so well, but politically it's a good move because if you look at the political mindset of our people, if the big fish can move from one end to the other, then it also attracts the small ones to follow. And you remember,
Mm,
politics is about numbers.
mm,
So if the economy is doing well the way it is, people think it's not doing well.
mm-hmm.
People are seeing. So even these big fish, they know that where I am here, I'm not gonna go anywhere. I'll be relevant very soon. So they're trying to move their goalposts so they can be a little bit irrelevant. Of which I'm glad that they are moving, but the part they are going to, they have a president who is very smart.
Okay.
He knows their mindset. He's not just gonna pick them up. No,
Also,
no.
maybe can I contribute something? Sorry, I had this technical hitch. See, when these people are leaving these political parties, there's something that they say. Why don't they give us these two sides of the coin? The statement that he left when he was leaving, and the statement that he gives when joining, so that it's up to us, the people, to judge whether these chaps are genuine or not. Because most of them are just thugs. You can't have that's political prostitution. Two statements. We as the people should be the judges. What did he say when he was leaving UPND? His last statement. And today, how come he's praising? They should leave that to us, so that when we go to that voting day, we not say, oh, okay, these chaps, we can't trust them. We need that much. He was what he was, and he is what he has become now. Maybe Njala Yamchita, maybe Ninjala. No, sometimes when you are poor, you forget your principles. You forget that you know the other time was no. You even forget that there's a word called yes. I don't know. Just take away your power of choice. You no longer become reasonable. You can't choose. You take.
Mr. Marshall, you need to explain it to Mr. Chilufian Kalapa. What does it mean?
Oh, Wujete is poverty.
Poverty.
Wujete is poverty, you see? Poverty, yes. Upina. Upina. Yeah,
Great.
it's sad.
Oh my God.
You start to think with your stomach instead of your brains. Those brains are good. God gave you those brains to ask questions. Not to be just there. Okay, things happen. Those brains are for asking questions, just like we are doing now. All those questions are not being generated from our stomachs. They are being generated from the active thought processes that are there, and that's what we need from people. I don't know, the brains he used when he was leaving, and the same brains that he's using now when coming back.
That's a good point.
Isn't that fascinating, gentlemen, that Mr. Biswell, and isn't that fascinating that he left the party at the 11th hour, just before we were pronounced, the party. Isn't that fascinating?
Why can't he also join UPND at the 11th hour, 1 week before elections? Come on, it's his transport. That's what he has to do. That's what.
Yeah. All right.
At the 11th hour, that's when he should not join.
Okay. Absolutely.
You don't join when there's time. No.
Different. I know your eyes are twitching. You have a word or two. I can't wait. Go ahead.
We do know how politics work. My only hope, and I don't have much to say about this because I had much to say about soccer, but I'm just hoping that he's coming with the information that is going to help us either recover the money or something. Because I don't believe that they would have just accepted him like that. I'm assuming there's some background information, that is there that he gave before he was brought in. Just like we were talking about these criminals, if they came up and said, I stole this, and I can tell you who else he stole, then we don't slap them with the longer sentences. So I'm hoping that's the case.
Oh, brilliant. Mr. Mabo, you have a comment or two on Mr. Biswell, who is rejoining UPND this past week?
Let me not comment.
All right, then. That's also a good one.
It's also
That's
a
a good
comment.
one.
Pleading the fifth.
Yeah,
The comment is neutral.
Hello.
It's also a comment.
Okay.
Just
Let me
neutral comment.
just add the voice.
Uh-huh.
Okay, good. You are now in a gear. Let's take forward gear.
I think it's
All right.
just an advice. I think it's just an advice to politicians.
Yes,
Whatever we do, we must think of the future.
correct.
I don't see it right where you leave this political party, you insult them, you insult the president,
Uh-huh.
you talk about
Uh-huh.
things that are not founded and so forth. Okay, because you've been indicted
Uh-huh.
somewhere. Then later, within 3, 4, 5 years, you come back and say, "No, I'm back. I'm repented. This and that." Let's not degrade ourselves to such levels. Let's
Yes,
play
two
good
sides of the
politics.
coin.
Oh,
I like.
brilliant,
I like.
gentlemen. Back to Lufia. Come
Right.
in.
Well, I think it's what everybody just saying when it comes to that is we all know, the other side of the story, and the other side of the story is around to they're woken up and they don't trust politicians. I'm going to say this, but Biswell, he was very harsh and tough on the UPND when he was in opposition, when he was with the PF.
Correct.
He
Mm-hmm.
was very, very, very harsh, and he made his statement very clear to say he does not trust the president, he doesn't trust his
Uh-huh.
policies. Now,
Uh-huh.
how has
Those
everything
are the two
changed now?
statements I was talking about.
Overnight, you change.
Uh-huh.
Watching David,
Mm-hmm.
what have you seen? What has happened? Okay, so
All right,
to me, I'm looking at him
gentlemen.
as a person that you cannot trust.
Okay.
Because in
Very
in
fine.
an trust
You
abantu.
must be naive.
All right.
You must
Back to
be
Lufia.
naive to
I
trust
think,
the guy.
gentlemen, it's 4:08, and I'm just sitting here on my little thing. My sister is actually on here, and this is my biological sister, gentlemen. She's in the UK. So this is she's telling me it's time to go. It's been over 2 hours. So I think we need to end the podcast here because we're gonna go on and on and on until we don't finish all the topics. So let's link up again
Yeah,
next
so
Sunday, sometime, someplace. Bantu TV,
no problem.
as we
Mm-hmm.
talk the most happening news from the Netherlands. But maybe before we go, I'm going to give each one of you gentlemen a minute to sum up your thoughts, and then we call it a day. So let's start off with the gentleman in Peter, and then we're going to talk to my brother in Shikatende, then Rakalota, and then Mr. CK, who's been listening in the background, and then, of course, the Deep Filter and Rachufia in that order.
Thank you.
Am I, am I,
Okay. I think it's just to appeal to my fellow Zambians that let's support the current government. Things might seem to be tough because the government, I think, is trying by all means to put things in the straight line. So let's
Mhm.
support them, and we'll get better.
Absolutely brilliant, Mr. Monde. Let's go to my brother from Shikatende, Mr. Masha, please come in.
you know, a, a giant, a long journey starts with a step. The journey we started with MMD, yes, it's quite, I mean, UPND, sorry, look at me. The journey we started with UPND is very, very long, but the steps we are making, they are in the positive side. They are not in the negative side. We are not in the negative zone, like beyond 0, -1, negative.
Mhm.
But even if we make one step, as long as we are in the positive side,
Mhm.
generations will thank us. Then UPND
Mhm.
is leaving a legacy where good things don't just come. There were several years of distraction, and to correct that distraction, it cannot be done in a day. Even maize, when you plant it, how does it become a cob? It goes through a process, and that process is what we were not given the other time. We were told lies. No, things are okay. Oh, things are okay. Things are okay. Now we are even able to see light at the end of the tunnel. It's painful and very difficult. Even the decisions that they are making now, they are not meant, maybe they are not even meant for us, this generation. Maybe they are meant for generations to come. So let's trust them. Should trust the process they're making because the content is clear. The process is there and the content we know it is there. They can't make these decisions for nothing. Where I am now, I'm seeing the difference with what they are doing that side. And every world, every government, they have their own problems. Even in America, even in UK, everywhere, muntu ataka mujengati, they are not every politicians are everywhere. But problems are different. But this UPND government thumbs up. They're in the right direction. Thank you.
Brilliant. That's a Salaman right there. Okay. And now moving on. CK, I know you've been listening in the background. We'll give you a minute to sum up your thoughts for today's podcast. Yeah, do you have anything to say before we end this show today?
Thank you very much for the honor, and I want to encourage everyone. It's a pleasure and as well as a very educative encounter that I've had. Um, One thing I always embark on is to remember that everything begins with love. For the love of our country, it is always best to serve and to see the good that is in others and pursue that after God. We need to have that spirit of Ubuntu. It has been there traditionally, it is still here, and we are heading in that direction. As a people, we need to look at the strengths more than the weaknesses that we have. We all have weaknesses. We are all imperfect. We will never be perfect in this body that we have. And so it is more important to strengthen the strengths that we have. Let us look at how we can enhance each other and thank God for this government that is there currently, the UPND government. It is a government that has been prepared for such a time as this. It is not by accident that God has allowed it, for there is no leadership that can occur, can be in a place without an authority. And this is God's authority that has allowed this opportunity. So let us see what we can do to enhance and develop. Um, Without much delay, I say congratulations to all of you for making it and for being a contributor to this forum. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. CK. And now, just on the sidelines here, just comment which church you preach at, and I'll be there. I'm be just kidding. All right, now Bakalapa, please come in. You are the man of the moment, Bakalapa.
Yeah, thank you so much. Otherwise, I just want to thank the panel for all the contributions. I know we are not been talking to ourselves. We've been interacting with our fellow Zambians, which is very important. We have enlightened ourselves. At least we know where we are, and then it's good that we have a government that is listening. I know things are tough. I talk to my family members, but they're tough. That they are also, they can also see the light at the end of the tunnel. That's the only beauty of this government. There's nothing like, okay, now we are doomed. Like, those people that were given fake stories, subsidizing the fuel, doing all sorts of stuff. But this is the reality. Same as us here who are in Europe, and North America. everything that we get here is genuine. It's not like, we are trying to fabricate stuff to make us good. No, you work, you buy the price that you see, the original price. So, which is now my country, Zambia. The price that we are seeing there, that's the true price. There's no fabrication. So even as somebody is working, if I get one kwacha, this is what I'm gonna buy. I'm gonna use it for A, B, C, D, which is good. Thank you so much.
Oh, brilliant. The deep thinker.
All right, this is a good forum. We exchange ideas. We I'm asking that we promote the UPND government and on the things, the good things that they are doing. Let's promote it. Let's be the mouthpiece for those that are out there to sabotage what the government is doing. But at the same time, I'm asking that we give suggestions to the government how to improve some of the things. The hiring of teachers is tremendous. I applaud that. I'm happy about it. Uh, the maize issue, I'm happy about it, but please, the last comment, somebody tell Edith Nawaki to be quiet about that. Don't buy maize.
Oh,
Oh,
deep thinker. I was trying to avoid that topic today, but go ahead.
because I need her to come up with some alternatives. Don't just drop information that you don't buy maize because
mm,
it's dangerous. You need to tell us why it's dangerous and what is your alternative, so
mm.
that in opposition you are helping the government to govern the people.
Mm,
You're not
Yes,
there to just
yes, in fact,
sabotage. You give
mm,
suggestions
in
so
fact,
that the government
sabotage.
can be it can improve the lives
Ele-
of our people. Thank you.
mm,
Just
elect
on
point,
that,
elect
let me
point,
no,
just add a footnote right
elect,
there. Good,
elect point. Can I just
deep
add
thinker.
something?
No, hold
Just
on
a
before
minute,
you
just a
come.
minute.
Yeah, you come in. Deep thinker. When you're talking, I was trying to avoid the Nawako issue, but Nawako also needs to tell us what happened with the
Carlington, Carlington,
$5 million Arlington deal.
Carlington,
So, yeah,
Carlington
exactly.
Maze,
Right there.
Carlington.
Okay.
mm,
Mr.
yes.
Macha, you wanted to come in briefly. Oh, before we go, now
You know,
Deep thinker is opening
if
up
you
a
live
Pandora box. Mr.
for
Macha, come in,
You know,
for
please,
should
before
I
we
run
go
up
to
for
Mr.
Okolanda?
Eh?
for Edith, she lives in a glass house. Let her not throw stones. Simple. She lives in a glass house, so she should not throw any stones. Carlington Maze deal. Okay, where does it put her? It's Maze. You see, politics. These are not politicians. These are politics. They're just come on. Has she even brought cassava? Has she brought cassava? We can't even eat. We can't even eat her sausage. You see,
Oh my
sausage irakuwa iko obwali. Sausage irakuwa iko obwali. Nomba twalaleeta sausage irala eggana okwabula obwali. Ujamayo ujana. Come on, come on.
You know what? Let me just
Eh?
summarize this thing. Wanawakwi bamayo balya balikwata an issue with the president.
Mm-hmm.
He has some personal issues with the current
Vendetta.
president.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you remember, Akale, even in the past, she's always been against him. She's claimed all these things. She's trying to castigate him and try to create Tamana and she sponsored that family,
That
saying
family.
that he bought
That
land from
family.
them. So many things that she has done, Mammon. But her own capacity, when she was working as a minister of finance, the president gave her a clear indication to say, look, if you're into corruption, things were happening and all these things were being sold. You're the minister of finance. What did you do? Were you sleeping? From then, she was like, oh my God, I have to go against him. Now, years later, Vanawakwi, she still claims to have solutions for this country. When she's saying that the current government is producing amataba, GMO, they're importing GMO, maize from South Africa or wherever, and then balepera abantu ba Mzambi. He doesn't have any evidence to that. When now the current government actually is, what they're doing is they're going commercial and paying abantu, ama farmers, cash. If you supply, FRA will give you money right there and then. You don't have to wait. So that's why there's this demand of maize. Abantu baletwala ku FRA, they're being paid. Vamayo banawake, when you were in government, you never did this. Now you're trying to say the GMO maize ile from South Africa, then the mulepera run Zambia. That's not the truth. That's not what's happening. You need to search your soul, ma'am, and really, if you're a Zambian, patriotic Zambian, just step down and stop politics, because nothing we can have, because you're not giving us any alternative. You should be giving us proper alternatives that we can listen to and say, oh, wow, she's saying something that's really different. Not to condemn anything that comes your way. Oh, I rest my case.
Okay, that's your final. I mean, gentlemen, we are already an hour and 22 minutes over that my assigned time. So we need to shut this down. We meet again next weekend, same time, same place. As for me, Kalinda Shichinda from Shikatende village, as well as Lugwala village, because I claim both. I can't help myself. I claim both. They are mine. They run through deep through my vein. I would say let's keep the faith. We link up next Sunday, same time, same place, with another set of breaking Zambian news. Until then,
Bye bye.
keep the faith. Ciao, ciao.
Okay.
Bye bye.